Right, we're live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the first playoff game that we are going to get to see for the sixth and fifth playoff game that is coming up. It should be exciting. South Africa, they are going head-to-head with France here. And something that is big is the fact that South Africa, they probably wouldn't have been expecting to play up against France in this fixture. Everyone was thinking they were heavily the favourites in that game, but unfortunately for them, Samoa, they turned up to that next level in that last game, 28 points to 17. And now South Africa find themselves trying to play off for that fifth or sixth place position. But looking through at the starting lineup of South Africa for this game, Zane Davids, Christy Carola, then it is also JC Pretorius, Ronald Brown, Selvin Davids, Soyers Wapi, who is the captain for this game, and then Shelton Van Wyk, who didn't have the best game in that last matchup up against Samoa, but we'll be looking for some redemption, my words. I'm too excited. We've got some big games coming up for the semi-finals, including the matchup that is going to be taking place between Fiji and Samoa, which should be an absolute ripper. But for the French starting lineup, it will be Jonathan Legal. Then also it is Huyard, Simon, Mazzolini, Paulin Riva, then Turabal. He looked very good in the last game up against Fiji. And I should mention they did end up losing to Fiji, France, 24 points to 21. They were ahead with about a minute left. And then Fiji were able to find themselves a final minute try in the form of Jerry Tawai. There we go. We've removed some of that little bit of weird shadow that does pop up. And then also it is Boucher, who is going to be in that starting lineup. Jordan Sefu, once again, they've decided to have him off the bench. Interesting choice, as I would have thought that he would have been one of the priorities to have in that starting lineup. Off the bench for South Africa, Ryan Ostays and Impey Visa, Sean Williams, and the Wald Human is going to be there as well. But currently they are actually doing a little bit of an exclusive interview with the Springboks coach from a little while ago when they were able to win themselves the last tournament that did take place in Canada. They'll be looking for redemption here. If they win this game, they will go on to face off against the winner of New Zealand versus England. So that would actually be a big game. We get to see New Zealand versus New Zealand versus South Africa. In that case, if they do end up making it through, which I think is a game that a lot of people have wanted to see for a long time. So that's probably my one that I've got my fingers crossed for. I hope that South Africa win this game. Then from there, they will end up going on to face New Zealand in a nice old matchup. Then semi-final one, Fiji versus Samoa. Semi-final two will be Argentina versus Australia. But for this game, I think a key player is going to be Selvin Davids, because when he plays well, South Africa play well. And when he's involved as much as he normally is, like what we've seen from him in the past few tournaments, like it normally just carries them over. Ronald Brown, he's been in some very good form though, but the last 5 times that these two sides have played, it has always gone the way of South Africa, including their last game in Dubai for 2021, 19 wins, or 19 points to 12 win for South Africa there. So they want to get themselves another victory over France. But France, in that game up against Fiji, they were relatively close. A player who France are missing, I should mention, is actually Perez. And I'm not too sure whether that is injury or just not selected for the side. But the South Africans, they have also got a couple players missing that we did see in the last tour. I believe one of which would be Dupré. I'm not too sure whether or not, once again, it was selection-wise that he did end up missing out, or maybe a little bit of an injury lurking for him. But Soyers Wapi, he actually missed some of the last competition due to injury. He's back now. He's rearing to go, and he's about to lead out South Africa onto the field alongside Paulin Riva, the captain of France. But this game should be an exciting one. It is the first of the 2 playoff games that we get to see, and then we are straight into the semi-finals, the next of which being New Zealand taking on the English. But currently, South Africa, they had the perfect group stage. They were able to win all 3 of their games, including a close-fought one with Australia, 22 points to 19. France, they also had a pretty decent group stage, a draw with Argentina, 12-all, then a win over a win over Ireland, and a win over Scotland. But then it was the quarterfinal that did end up knocking them out. 88th match for the referee from Fiji. And this one, do let me know your score predictions, ladies and gentlemen, with who you think will be able to go on and get themselves a win. This one, it's going to be a tricky one, because I feel if South Africa start the way that they did up against Samoa, they will be chasing this game for a majority of the time. Whereas if France don't get a good start, I can see the Blitsboks winning this game by about 19 points. We'll have to wait and see, of course, but it's going to be kicked off now for Mazzolini. And that one doesn't go, team. So we're going back to halfway straight away. Not quite what they would have been after there for Mazzolini with his very first kick of this playoff semi-final game for the 5th place position. So whoever wins this gets one more game, and that will be up against the winner of New Zealand versus England. Whoever loses this game, their 7th tournament, is going to be over. Great ball to JC Pretorius. Currently now South Africa sitting about 35 metres out from the line. Ronald Brown fires it across to the hands of the number 8, Selvin Davids. Now Zane Davids also having another carry. Like they're saying, he's been very impressive throughout the 7th circuit. Now Ronald Brown using the pace. Nice step on the outside. Almost able to find the offload up to Christy Grobler. Instead, decides to take the contact. Zane Davids now across Van Veek in the midfield. Off to Sawyers Wapi, who is near the touchline, but Raval has been able to drag him down. Or in fact, sorry, it's Legal. And Zane Davids once again goes back across. Davids out to Robala. That was flat, but it's going to be all right for South Africa, the Blitsboks, and they do get themselves their first try of the match now. A nice early lead. Ronald Brown was the one who was able to score it, and now South Africa, they sit 5-0. His 3rd try in this Vancouver Sevens, and also I think South Africa will win unless France get an early try, says Tassi. So I guess now with that early try of South Africa, how many points do you think South Africa will win by? Tassi, do let me know. We got some big games coming up, though. The 2 semi-final fixtures, Argentina versus Australia, and the one that I've been looking forward to for so long, since knowing both sides are back on the circuit, it is going to be the big match, Fiji versus Samoa. But that has gone over 7 points for South Africa, 0 to France in the early stages after only 2 minutes of this fixture. So South Africa, that is the South Africa that we know, and we have known from past games that they are able to start matches extremely quick. Ronald Brown, he's puffing quite heavily at the moment. I don't know whether or not that was from that run, or maybe it's from just all of the quick steps that he did end up doing. Maybe he ended up hurting his legs just a little bit, as it's so fatiguing out there on sevens. That man was held up for a very long time, and because of it, it does mean that it is going to be a free kick in favour of the Blitsboks once again. He did not put him straight down, and also maybe a 2-try difference, says Tassi in there. Okay, liking it. So I guess another question, who do you see going through to the final? Do you think it will be Fiji or Samoa, and then Argentina or Australia? Who would you love to see in the final? Do let me know. Now pass across Selvin Davids. Now one more fire back into the hands of JC Pretorius. He's back in his space. Actually ended up getting muddled up with the French number 13, Boucher, who was actually running alongside him in that situation. Now Selvin Davids, once again, now he sees the gap. He's running straight through and passes it off. It's going to be almost a deliberate knockdown. It's going to be close to a knockdown or a knock on from Grobler. I guess it is, but Selvin Davids asking the question of whether or not there's a yellow card coming up for one of the French players. 11 blue, treble, no knock on. Oh, okay, it's a yellow card to Treble for the deliberate knockdown there. So that will be slightly unfortunate for him, but Selvin Davids, that was just an absolutely incredible run from him. He almost could have gone himself, but decided to go across to Christy Grobler. And now, 15 metres out from the line, they do take the quick tap in the form of Grobler now across to Selvin Davids. A man advantage here for the Blitsboks, and they do fire that pass out wide very nicely, straight into the hands of Sawyers Wapi. And he goes in on the left-hand corner. And now they've made the most of that yellow card advantage for the Blitsboks. Sawyers Wapi, also his 3rd try of the 7 series in Vancouver. Ronald Brown, when he finds that pass, he is lethal with it. It was a great sling-out pass, though, in the end from JC Pretorius, straight on the money to Sawyers Wapi. Was able to go in and get himself his 3rd try of the Vancouver Sevens, like I mentioned. So currently, you'd have to say it's going to be hard for South Africa to not win this game, you would like to think. Definitely with France being a man down, that one has missed out to the side, so it will remain 12-0 in favour of South Africa here. And I want it to be Fiji versus Australia, so that it's an oceanic final. But I think it's going to be Fiji versus Argentina, says Tassi there. Oh, that would mean Australia, Samoa in the 3rd place final. That's the thing. Either way, I'm happy, because we're going to get to see Fiji and Samoa in action twice more. Whereas last week, we actually missed out on seeing South Africa and Samoa in a playoff game because they finished 7th and 8th. But now, no matter what, we get to see 2 more matches for Samoa. I just hope that Matavao is going to be all right, because I know that he took a head knock in that last game. We actually ended up doing a preview of that game on the channel, and I did just mention about how if he is not available for that game, that is going to be a massive game changer for Samoa in that game. Now it is going to be Mazzolini. Goes into the back, but he just throws it straight into the hands of Christy Robler. This could be another try for Sawyers Wapi. That pass not so great to Sawyers Wapi, but he's going to have to skill. He goes straight through, and it's another try to South Africa. Still 2 minutes left in this first half, and they have been able to score 2 tries in the time that Trabal has been off the field. Now it moves them up to 4 tries in this Vancouver Sevens. A nice ball from Robler. In the end, it was Van Vick just a little bit behind Sawyers Wapi, which is why I thought the momentum might have been taken out of the play, but still has the acceleration. Fends off the opposition captain in Reva and was able to score the try. Sawyers Wapi, I should say. He is celebrating that one. But yeah, anyone wondering why the players do have a whole heap of tape wrapped on their arms and also the knees, it is because they are on some very rough turf that pretty much can just cut you, unfortunately. I believe it is an artificial I think it's called a 4G turf. AstroTurf, in fact, now that I think about it. Hey, howdy, hey. Says Katie Dixon, welcome in. Hope you are doing well currently. South Africa doing very nicely, 19-0 for themselves here. That's going to be taken nicely once again by France. Off the kickoff, it was the man who's just made his way back out there, Trabal. Now backline movement, Legal. Passing it across very nicely for France. It's going to be a big run forward, actually, by Juris Simon. Now a little bit of a slip here. Riva with the drawn pass. No, instead misses the opportunity to pass it. Now still hasn't passed, and it is going to be a knock-on advantage to South Africa. So you'd have to say he missed this opportunity there. Now Van Vick cuts on the inside. Round 3 of the French players. Legal misses the tackle. Pop-up pass to Sawyers Wapi, who's already got 2 throughout this fixture. And also that's a totally different French team compared to when they nearly upended at Fiji. It's very true. Like that last game, they were incredibly close. And this game, I think they just haven't quite been able to find their mojo. And yeah, there's those plastic grass pitches. It's like they make them out of shards of glass. So yeah, they do need to have that strapping on the knees. And Grobler, if he dives for this one, although if he's smart, he will just put the ball down. He does that, saves the knees, saves the elbows. And South Africa get themselves yet again another try. That is the 4th of the first half. They'll have enough time to take this kick. And I don't believe after that we will get another play of this first half. But Van Vick has cut his way through. Although I guess the thing is, right, these players, the fact that they do have to wear the padding on the knees, the padding on the arms, surely that's like a sign that maybe playing on this type of turf for sevens isn't a good idea. Like I think because of the stadium, it does make it, I guess, the best option. But it makes you wonder, you don't want to end up cutting all the players up because some players just honestly won't wear that stuff. They'll just slide on their knees. They'll hurt themselves for it. But if it means that their side gets the win, then they'll certainly do it. I think if you asked, 99 out of 100 of these players, you have to dive on the turf unprotected to win a game for your team. I would like to think they would all still do it. South Africa taking some deep breaths here. 13 carries for South Africa compared to just the 2 of France. No errors made and also no offloads in that first half. So very structured play from South Africa. They've missed 2 tackles. They have only made the 1, but France have missed 4 tackles out of the 6 that they were able to make as well. Restart. They've had a few turnovers conceded, yet to concede any for South Africa. So this is the South Africa we were expecting up against Samoa. And it seems like they have just chosen the game a little bit later to be able to find that form. But I should also mention, this is going to be exciting because South Africa, if they win this game, they go on to face off against the winner of New Zealand versus England. Either way, that's going to be an awesome matchup. But I would love to see the Blitsboks take on the Kiwis in the playoff game. France, you okay? And this is Katie. Something's gone wrong, hasn't it? Because they've already conceded more points than they did up against Fiji. And we've still got 7 minutes to go for the French here, but currently sitting on the halfway line, about to kick this one off for South Africa to get us back underway. The next game that we are covering on the channel will be the matchup between New Zealand, and they will be taking on England. Hi, Amish as well. Says Brandon, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Currently, a few more big games coming up for the 7 side of things, including, as soon as I saw that Fiji and Samoa were back, that was the matchup that I wanted to see, and now we get to see it. I wish it was the final, but it's the semi-final, but we'll still take it. It should be a very entertaining one, and I hope Mataval is all right for it, but I don't know whether or not he will be available for the selection, but I think I'll be able to find that out before the next match gets underway. Now kicked off short by Sullivan Davis. Perfect kickoff. It's taken amazingly by the Blitsboks, and now Christy Robler is back on the side of South Africa. A little bit of a counter ruck there. It's going to be a penalty to South Africa there. And also think of the hygiene element. Yuck. I don't want to see the ground staff vacuuming that field. And there, as says Eric. Yeah, that's the thing. They do actually, like, they've got the weird, I think they put some form of moisture on it, don't they? Just to try and make it a little bit more like turf, but it's just not. Unfortunately, at top of the morning, Hamish, even though it's belated. And there says, so welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Hope you're excited for that Fiji versus Samoa game that is coming up. Ronald Brown now passes the wide out to Soyas Wapi. Now, nice steps. Beautifully done by Soyas Wapi there to be able to keep on making his way around. Tackled in the end by the number 10, Simon. Now back across. Looking good for South Africa. Wide cutout pass to Christy Hrobala. Oh, good tackle on him by Legal. Currently, I believe they made the same. They've actually made a sub, and it's James Murphy out there, which is a name that we haven't seen too much throughout the 7th circuit. That's going to be Soyas Wapi, who does go in for his hat trick. Very nicely done by him. And also, final will be Fiji versus Australia. And this is Lake Show. So, yeah, it should be a very exciting one. And also, I just woke up, says Brandon, also, let's not complain. It's the same for both teams. And this is Eric. Exactly right. Both sides have got a whole heap of tape on their legs to try and protect it. I see that. I think that was Ronald Brown. He's got a full, pretty much leg brace. And then there's just a little hole. And rather than letting his kneecap hang out, he's got the tape over the top of that. I did see it. I was like, we've got that. As New Zealand lost, they did indeed. They did end up losing their game up against Australia. So because of that, they are not through to the semi-final. Instead, it will be Australia taking on Argentina. And New Zealand's game is actually the next one that we will see. 5 minutes left, though, in the second half. And it is 31-0 for South Africa, All-time Canada 7s try. Soyas Wapi sitting on 28, the same as Perry Baker. Except the big thing is, Perry Baker is not going to be going through. And I was like, from Kenny Dixon, and also first cup semi will be a true clash of the South Pacific, even though the bigger island, New Zealand, have been demoted and will play after the semi. So I guess you could call it New Zealand's the prelim, and it's opening the doors to just show the class of Fiji and Samoa. Like, that game is the one I'm looking forward to the most. Out of all of the games that could have happened, it was New Zealand, Fiji, and Fiji, Samoa as my two, because I want to see where they compare at the moment. But I'm just going to have a quick look here at the match center. Okay, they've announced their lineup. Mataval will be off the bench for Samoa. So he's still there, but just not as prominent as he would have been maybe if he did end up not getting that head knock. And I'm back in Oz. They worked out New Zealand and went hard in. They did. Second half, like the first half, 12-0 to then go on and win that game. Like, Corey Toole just had a blinder, I guess you could say. And I think he normally does in the big games as well. It's just that Australia have missed out on the opportunity for a lot of those big games. But currently now, bit of attacking urgency here from the Blitsboks. Ronald Brown wrestled down there, sitting about 30 meters out. Selvin Davids off to Zane Davids. Trying to bump off the tackle with Jordan Sefo. That's a knock on the ground from South Africa, but it's become a penalty. You're taking up space, was the comment from the referee, but harsh to one of the French players. But I believe the translation of that would be you were in the ruck in the wrong place. And also, we've got that doing well, little brother. I hope you're feeling better. I just woke up and how are you doing today? Here's Brandon as well. But now Selvin Davids, line breaks 5-0. South Africa have had about 80%, if not more, of the ball in this game. Selvin Davids goes back across to Van Vick. Wide slinging pass out to the man at number 1, like I mentioned a little bit earlier on. James Murphy, he's got his bum out, but he scored the try. And that's not what we want to be remembered for the try. His first try in the match, his first try off Vancouver, and he gave the crowd a bit of a show, I guess you'd say. Unfortunately, French player tried to make a tackle, got him around the shorts, and the shorts came with him. Like they're saying, got a bit of short, and he was able to score. It's a full moon, and this is Kenny Dixon. And also, we got there. Got very bit iron back to normal. And as I says, Brandon, and he gets the cheer from the crowd for Murphy. I don't know whether or not he wants that attention. And also, I've been in the wrong bed at the wrong time. I've been in the wrong bed at the wrong time. Like the wrong bed at the wrong time. Isn't that part of a song? One by Kane Brown, is it? And also, hi, Hamish. Says, God, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Oh, no, that might be I've been at the wrong place at the wrong time, actually, rather than the wrong bed. But now, 2.5 minutes left, kicked off. And I was like, very good news. There's Brandon, taken nicely by France. Right, can they hang on to this ball? That is the big question here. To the short side, it's an advantage. The referee does give the penalty, so they will get another attacking opportunity here for France. In fact, one of their first attacking opportunities And also, that's 2 tries now with long passes to the wing, says Tassi. And yeah, it just seems to be so open for them. Like that time, it wasn't even Sawyers Wapi who received the pass. James Murphy, they've just said, we'll pass it wide. France are a little bit too compact in their defence. And I'll say, how is New Zealand gone? We are gone. Unfortunately, we did end up losing in our game up against Australia in the quarterfinal. So because of that, it does mean we are playing next up against England, and Australia are going to be up against Argentina in the semi-final. I'm just looking. And there's there's a Brandon that's going to be slung backwards. Nice take by France, trying to find some sort of opportunity. It's going to be big Simon, just bumps off the tackle of Murphy. Backline movement. This is looking good for France now. Bit of space. And it looks like it should be possibly the first try. No, it's not. He's forced into touch. Brilliant defense from Selvin Davids. And Grandidier was unable to go over. That's the thing. He easily could have let him run in there, but he did not. He chased him the whole way through. And with the swan song for Dan Norton, who will hang his boots up after this tournament, depending on how the next match versus England does end up going. Sorry, I just kind of reworded that, didn't I, in like a random way. But hopefully he goes all right. I want to see him score a try. I feel like that's just my big thing. Please, Dan Norton, score yourself a try, finish on a high, and just like at the end of the day, if England beat New Zealand, they get to play up against South Africa, which will be a huge game. If New Zealand beat England, they will play up against South Africa, which is also a huge game. And it seems like South Africa are going to go into that last game in form. Jordan Sefo now running hard. It's going to be a foot race once again. Selvin Davids, this time he misses the tackle. And Jordan Sefo goes in for the try for France. And that is going to be their first try of this match. They do get themselves maybe the last one of the match. And I was like 19-12. And as I said, Brandon, it certainly was. So we did have a 12-0 lead for New Zealand. And then, yeah, Australia fought back extremely well. But it was a great game to watch. And I'm looking forward to seeing Australia versus Argentina. Jordan Sefo breaking the tackle of Selvin Davids. He tried his best with the cover defense. It just didn't work out for him, though. And it's quite interesting. You can tell who the players are who make a lot of tackles. Selvin Davids being one, because he has got more of his arms strapped than someone who's just got the elbows. So I guess, if you got the forearm as well, he's often the last-ditch tackle effort, as we've seen twice in the last little while. Now kicked off. That one will not go 10. And they will have to go back. And now South Africa will get one last attack. Now, the thing is, they would love to be able to just kick this one into touch, I would think, save the momentum for the final. But I believe they're going to have one last attack. They will be through to the 5th place final. Ronald Brown, he does kick it out. Okay, so they did decide that they do want to save that energy for their next matchup. But nonetheless, South Africa do get themselves an impressive win, 36 points to 7 over France. And now they will be moving through to that 5th place playoff game where they will take on New Zealand or England in their matchup. And no bread for France yet. Not a lot at all in this game. Only the one try for France. But now we will be switching over to our next live stream, ladies and gentlemen, New Zealand, with their game that they are taking on England. So we'll see you all in a very short moment. Thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you all for the next one.